Hey friends, for this video I'm going to give an example of how to use the area model to multiply two mixed numbers. So I'm getting this problem just straight off of IXL instead of from your book as an example. So the first thing we want to do is we want to write down the problem. This is 4 1/5 multiplied by 3 2/5. Okay, so we're not using the four square model. We're actually going to be using the area model, which is something similar to what you did in 3rd grade or what we do with whole numbers. So I first want to draw out my area model. And remember, it doesn't have to be too big. It shouldn't take up your whole entire paper, but also it shouldn't be too small that you cannot see or read the numbers you have inside of it. Now this is a whole number and a fraction and a whole number and a fraction. And I'm going to decompose it into the whole numbers and fractions, which means I want to have 2 parts on the top and 2 parts on the side. And let me see if I can get my camera a little bit lower so it's not. Okay, hopefully that helps just a little bit. Y'all seen my setup with my little truck going on over here. So all right, so I always like to put the first number on top. It doesn't matter since we're multiplying, but I want to decompose this into the whole number, which is 4, and then the fraction, which is 1/5. And I'm going to do the same thing with the 3 2/5. I'm going to have my whole number and then my fraction 2/5. So just like what we do when we multiply whole numbers, we just want to multiply the top by the side and put the product in the middle. So 3 times 4 is 12. So that's going to be 12. 3 times 1/5. You can do this 2 different ways. You can go ahead and take these whole numbers and put them over 1 to make them a fraction. So then this 4 will be over 1. I should have left some room at the top. And then I can just multiply across. So that would be 3 times 1 and 1 times 5, which is 3/5. Or off to the side, you can do your model of 3 times 1/5, showing 1/5 3 times. It's completely up to you. Down here, the same thing. I'm going to say 2/5 times 4 over 1. So I'll multiply my numerators. 2 times 4 is 8. 5 times 1 is 5. Now, what type of fraction is 8/5? Right, it's an improper fraction. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and convert this to a mixed number. You don't have to. You can wait to the end if you would like. It's completely up to you, but I'm going to show both ways. Now, right here, I can see that this has a denominator of 5 and this has a denominator of 5. So my preference is that I would like to just keep it, but I'll show you how to convert it anyways. So when we convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, we know that the fraction sign just says to divide. So I want to divide 5 divided by 8.
Mommy.
Okay, had to pause. I'm sure you heard Mommy in the background. Plus, you couldn't even see that. All right, so I'm going to divide 5 and 8. So 5 can go into 8 one time. 1 times 5 is 5, so I'm going to subtract. And that leaves me with 5, 6, 7, 8, 3. Remember, my quotient is going to be my whole number, so that's going to be 1. My remainder is my numerator, 3. And then my denominator is going to stay the same, 5. Now this also works out good with keeping the denominator of 5. So once again, it's completely up to you on what you would like to do. Okay, so now we have 2 fractions, 2/5 and 1/5 to multiply. I'm just going to multiply my numerators and then my denominators. So 2 times 1 is 2. And 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, now I have 25. What can we do with this? It's a whole number. I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought. We got an even number, and then we have another number that's multiplied by 5. What can I do before I move on? Exactly. I can check to see if it can be simplified. What are my factors of 2? 1 and 2. For 25, can I multiply anything by 2 to get 25? Nope. So therefore, that's the lowest I can go. Some people will see this 2 here and this 2 here and automatically think that they can both be multiplied by 2, but 25 is an odd number, therefore it cannot be, nothing by 2 can be multiplied to get 25, okay? So now that I have all my products, I'm going to add them all together. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to write out my equation. I'm going to have 12 plus 3/5. Oh, sorry. 3/5 plus, I'm going to keep this as 1 3/5 plus 2/25. Okay, so I know I really can only multiply 2 numbers together at the same time. I'm sorry, add 2 numbers together at the same time. So I'm just going to use parentheses to show the 2 that I'm doing first. I want to try to make it a little easy on myself. These already have the same denominator, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those 2 together right off the bat. So I'm not using 12 yet, so I'm going to bring that down just like we do in order of operations. And then I just want to add. So my denominator is the same, so I know my denominators are going to be 5. I'm going to add 3 plus 3, that's 6. And then this has a 1 as a whole number, and this doesn't have a whole number, so it's 0 plus 1. So that's going to be 1. And I'm going to bring down my 2/25. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is what we call a mixed improper. You can keep that the same if you want to right now, or you can go ahead and convert it to just a regular mixed number. It's up to you. But I feel like I'm on a roll, so I'm just going to keep going. So I can't add these 2 fractions together quite yet because the camera keeps refocusing. Because this has a denominator of 5 and this has a denominator of 25. And remember, in order to add them, they need to have the same denominator. So I need to find the least common multiple for 5 and 25 in order to add them. So here, if you want to, you can come over here and do 4 squared. But just to save on time, I'm just going to go ahead and make this denominator of 25 because I already know the least common is going to be 25. I keep losing my train of thought. It's going to be 25. And 25 times 1 is 25. Therefore, what I do to my denominator, I need to do to my numerator. So 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 5 is 25. So I need to say 6 times 5. That's going to be 30. And I just bring down my whole number. And just so I don't forget it, I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 12 as well. Every time I don't use it. So now I can just add. So I have 30 plus 2. That's going to give me 32. Denominator stays 25. 1 plus, there's not a whole number here, so that's just going to be 1. And then I have my 12. Once again, we still have a mixed improper. If you want to go ahead and get rid of your whole numbers, that's fine. I can say 12 plus 1, that gives me 13. So this would be 13 and 32/25. Now I can work with my fraction. So I'm just going to come over here where I have some space. And I'm going to say 25 divide 32. And I can use partial quotient if I would like. Or how many, can 25 go into 32 more than once? Nope. So I'm going to say 1. And that's 25. Because 25 times 2 is 50. And that's going to be way too high. So when I subtract, I'll need to borrow 3 to 2, 2, 12, 7. Okay, and then so that would be, I have 1, oops, I had the camera, 1 and 7/25 as my fraction. So this is going to be 1 and 7/25, but I still have this 13 right here that I need to add to this whole number. So I can't just make this whole answer 1 and 7/25 because I still have this whole number here that I haven't done anything with yet. So I want to add 1 to 13, which will give me 14, and then my 7/25. And the only factors of 7, because it's a prime number, is 1 and 7. So if I cannot multiply anything by 7 to get 25, then I know that that is as low as I can go, and it's already in simplest terms. Okay, I hope this helped a little bit with refreshing your memory. If you need anything, just send me a message.